It's the kind of situation that demands a swift and uncompromising response. A hostage is taken, bombs are planted, a biochemical weapon is located. The 5 defenders prepare for the coming storm. These operators have gadgets, weapons, and abilities designed for this very purpose. They erect barricades and reinforce walls to limit options for the attackers. Mira can put a bulletproof window in these armored walls. Information is key. While the defenders have access to a set of default cameras, Valkyrie's black eye cameras, hidden in creative locations, provide the edge her team needs. Not all attackers will be watching the objective though. Some, like Caveira, lurk silently in the side rooms and hallways of the building, eager to pick off unaware attackers. With the defenses and firepower arrayed against them, this won't be a simple operation. It's a veritable siege. But the attackers have tricks of their own, and their own skills are uniquely suited to the task. A regular wall is no obstacle for Ash. A reinforced one is no deterrent to Thermite. And what's worse during a tense standoff than a phone call from Korean hacker Dokebi? There's no respawning during the round. Every sound is a clue. Every sheet of drywall is a new potential angle of attack. And when the chips are down and the barricades are crumbling, it will be communication and teamwork that win the day, even if the final moments are between 2 operators in desperate conflict. This is the story of Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six began life as a written work by Tom Clancy, a best-selling author known for his popular military thrillers.
What interests you about the military landscape today?
Today?
Yeah.
Well, same thing. They've still got the nicest toys. And they're still instruments of national policy. When the president picks up the phone and says, we have to do something today, they're the people who have to go do it.
After publishing his first novel, The Hunt for Red October, in 1984, Clancy would go on to write a number of books over the next 7 years, which would be turned into films, including Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger, and The Sum of All Fears. But his 1998 novel, Rainbow Six, didn't go that route. The novel featured recurring character John Clark in charge of Team Rainbow.
John's running a group called Rainbow. It's a NATO multinational counterterror team, and that's sort of a job for John.
While the book has yet to make the leap to the silver screen, it was turned into a video game by Clancy's own Red Storm Entertainment. And in 1998, the original Rainbow Six was released for PC and later ported to N64 and PlayStation.
Contact. Threat neutralized.
By comparison to other contemporary shooters at that time, Rainbow Six nearly rated as a simulation and emphasized planning and tactics. But as sequels were eventually released, each slipped a little further away from the original premise. French software company Ubisoft purchased Red Storm in August 2000 and began releasing other franchises under the Tom Clancy name, like Splinter Cell and Ghost Recon. But by 2008, and the release of Rainbow Six Vegas 2, Rainbow Six's original identity had dramatically changed.
Bishop. It's been a while, D. It has. You look different.
The next game in the series was to be Rainbow Six Patriots, which was revealed in 2011.
Hostiles ahead. Take them out. Engaging. We'll take red direction.
The game was powered by Ubisoft's proprietary Anvil engine, which had been used for games like Assassin's Creed 2. It was also set to deal with a new type of antagonist in the form of a domestic terrorist organization called the True Patriots. While it was set to feature a multiplayer mode, the game would be focused around a narrative-driven, single-player experience. But the game never launched. Between leadership changes, an aging game engine, and the looming release of next-generation consoles, Patriots was scrapped, and development on Rainbow Six Siege officially kicked off in 2013. Leaving behind the challenging domestic terrorism narrative of Patriots, the game went back to its roots. Rainbow was reactivated to deal with a global terrorist threat called White Masks.
This organization has the ability to carry out attacks anywhere in the world.
But unlike Patriots, Siege was designed primarily as a multiplayer-only game, and that was abundantly clear when the game was revealed at E3 2014.
Okay, I say we breach the garage.
No, I'd rather not. I mean, they always defend it with a shitload of booby traps. I say we drop in the roof and breach the 3 second-floor windows. We all come in at once. What do you guys think?
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
All right, let's vote for helicopter drop.
Roger that.
In some ways, the multiplayer-only nature of the game was a gamble. On the one hand, the Rainbow Six series name wasn't exactly in the forefront of everyone's minds at this time, so attracting new players was a priority. But a multiplayer-only game could potentially alienate the fans who had enjoyed Vegas 2 and wanted a robust single-player experience. During development, the team at Ubisoft Montreal had focused on 3 main elements for the game: teamwork, tactics, and tension.
All right, set up, and on 3. 1, 2, 3! Good job, guys.
Yeah.
One ingredient that went into creating that tension was destructible environments. The idea that new angles of attack could come out of nowhere and that cunning players could reshape the conflict to their advantage.
Vraiment de la liberté. Le système va générer en tout cas de la destruction en fonction de ton impact, de ton angle d'impact, de la force de l'impact que tu imprimes.
But this also played into the tactical angle. The idea that a well-planned assault could carry the day.
En fait, c'est ça, la créativité. À partir du moment où on peut générer, laisser le joueur s'exprimer dans la map, exprimer son style, sa tactique, ouvrir la brèche là où il le veut et comment il le veut et en faire quoi de cette brèche, c'est lui qui le décide. On délivre beaucoup d'outils, beaucoup de liberté, et là-dessus, on fait confiance aux joueurs, ils vont trouver.
The addition of operators brought a new touch to the series. Admittedly, even the first Rainbow Six had you choose different team members to bring on a mission, but operators in Siege were different, more like distinct classes with their own weapons and special abilities.
In Siege, each member of your squad has a distinct set of skills and a game-changing special ability.
And like most modern class-based shooters, the operators were designed to be distinct both from a gameplay perspective, but also visually. A tougher feat in a setting where tactical equipment is a must.
I know what you're wondering. What's in the canister? I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
The game would enter a closed beta in September 2015, but server issues marred some players' impressions of it. And when the first Rainbow Six game in 7 years finally released in December 2015, the core gameplay was mostly well received.
Rainbow Six Siege may not be the Rainbow game fans remember, but it lays a solid foundation for the future. Matches are full of constant tension and meaningful kills.
On the one hand, the moment-to-moment gameplay experience is fantastic. Every second of the short rounds matter.
Rainbow Six Siege is a house of cards. Intricate, impressive, and incredibly fragile.
If the gameplay was intriguing to reviewers, the amount available at release was less so. The game launched with 10 maps and 20 operators, but several critics noted that the initial offering felt thin for the full box retail price.
My time with Siege leaves me feeling like this Rainbow Six revival is a skeleton with not a lot of meat on its bones.
It's not worth it. And it's not really a Rainbow Six game. It just doesn't... It's nothing like the Rainbow Six games that made the name Rainbow Six.
Still, it was a foundation that the company planned to build on, and Ubisoft Montreal committed to an aggressive patch release schedule to support their new game.
The game launches on December 1st, and for the Rainbow Six Siege team and players, this is only the beginning. The game will continue to evolve with new content throughout the year.
While critics had spoken, the players would be the ultimate arbiter of whether the game would be a long-term success. Just a day after its release, it became clear that few people were taking part in the latest world to bear the Tom Clancy name. The stats for the PC version of the game on Steam show that there were few people playing, even if a majority of players bought the game through Uplay. Determined to attract players to the game, Ubisoft opened a free-to-play weekend just weeks after its release, a move that many saw as an admission of trouble. The game's post-launch players who owned the game were dealing with issues of their own, including problems with hackers and lag. By August 2016, Ubisoft had released 3 major content patches for the game: Operations Black Ice, Dust Line, and Skull Rain.
I'm coming for you.
They had implemented their anti-cheat system, Battle Eye, And while developers have often been hesitant to speak about player numbers, except in easily digested and positive sound bites, Ubisoft revealed during Skull Reign that the player base was higher than it had been at launch. There was a dip after the patch stabilized, but Siege was slowly but steadily making a comeback. On the eSports side of things, the game had launched with a perennial issue for many titles: which platform is the official one? At launch, the eSports program, organized by ESL, supported both PC and Xbox One. Some players from previous games, like Furious G, even made the swap to Siege from Vegas.
C'était une évidence pour nous, on avait été champion de France sur Vegas 2, on voulait aller s'investir sur Siege et on s'y investit à fond.
The round-robin format league would see teams like Penta, Y&K, and Continuum become finals champions for PC in the first year. Excellence Gaming became the first and last ever Pro League champions for Xbox One, as the platform was moved to a separate major league.
Excellent! That is it! Xbox One Rainbow Six Pro League champions!
More than any of the results, though, the early Pro League showed that the game had esports potential with incredible and exciting moments.
And I got killed by the Falcon.
Last one,
trophy.
Nice! What the fuck?
It also had a niche. It had the one life, high-tension gameplay of Counter-Strike, the ability interactions of many class-based games, and the addition of dynamic destruction. At the first Six Invitational at the end of the year, North America would take home the first ever trophy at the event. But as the game continued its growth throughout 2017, so too did its esports viewership. And as the game continued to add new operators, the interactions between attack and defense continued to grow.
IQ can now see defenders who are using their cameras. This is incredible. So IQ can see electrical devices 20 meters away, and now she can see people using the cameras on the defensive team.
With the game's continued rise, a community arose with it. And while they love to discuss the game's tactics and intricacies...
So what this means is that your team should have roamers. On the overall, any operator can roam, but the best ones are definitely the ones with 3 speed and 1 armor.
They also loved memes.
It's alright. Tachanka is here to save us.
I don't know if I'd even consider... I guess my videos, like the expectations versus reality, are probably considered meme videos, but I always thought of those as sketches as opposed to memes.
Hot enough to cut through nearly any barrier known to man.
Look out, it's live.
I think people just like to see the seriousness of Siege mixed in with comedy of real life and real memes.
I know what you're wondering. What's in the canister?
Fucking laser sights.
Nope.
The game's content rollout took a momentary backseat with the release of Operation Health in June 2017.
Operation Health is basically a 3-month period of time that we're going to be taking in order to fixing and repairing the game, as well as investing in core technologies and online techs to make sure that the game is as long-lasting as possible.
Maybe one of the most maligned periods in the game's post-release history, Operation Health was supposed to bring fixes to the game's engine, which had some issues with lag, hit detection, and matchmaking since launch. But the patch got its own assortment of memes too.
And then when it was like 1 week left until Blood Orchid, and I went through their checklist and they'd only fixed like 1 or 2 things out of the tons of stuff they mentioned, I was like, this was a meme. This was 3 months of the exact same thing with no changes.
Oh my god! What? What? Am I in the bottom of the map for you guys?
Yeah, dude.
What the fuck?
Ubisoft obviously came out and they talked about how they were just trying to lay the foundation and they were going to fix more things in the future, which they eventually did. I'll give them credit for that. They fixed a lot of problems that were with the game.
Once back into a more normal schedule of content releases, the game has continued its growth. With every new operator, new interactions enter the game, and the strategy deepens.
For me, the most appeal that I have with new operators is how to use their gadget on their own. So like Alibi is coming out and she has holograms. Okay, how can I set this up to trick people? Like where can I position the holograms where they'll like turn a corner and the reaction will just be to shoot instead of droning it out or like checking to see if it actually is a hologram.
The second Six Invitational, held in February 2018, saw peak concurrent viewership of over 300,000. While numbers for concurrent players on Steam are only a small slice of the pie, March saw the game crack the top 5 with a new all-time high of 176,000 players. And in May 2018, the game was the 11th highest watched on Twitch, up from 21st a year prior. And even though big tournaments helped, there is some evidence to suggest that the game is still steadily growing. The game crossed the 30 million player threshold in April 2018. In June, at E3, Ubisoft announced the game had hit the 35 million player mark. The subreddit subscriber base for the game is closing in on more established games like Dota 2, and major organizations like Fnatic, FaZe Clan, Team Liquid, and Cloud9 have picked up rosters for Pro League, while Ubisoft has announced a revenue-sharing initiative that splits profits from team-themed in-game items. At the Six Invitational, Ubisoft Montreal announced that the game would not have a sequel, but instead look to a 10-year lifespan. Whether or not the game makes it there, a commitment like that would have been unbelievable in December 2015. Every game wants to be the next big thing. Worse, they want it to be that at launch. But unlike the massive successes and instant flops of recent years, an unlikely Ubisoft game has steadily built up a fan base. They did it by reinventing what the franchise meant, while simultaneously committing to a post-release support structure that would keep the game relevant for years to come. In the process, they've built not only a devoted player base, but a growing eSports scene as well. But Siege, like its players so often do, defied some heavy odds to make it this far.
Thanks for watching. If you want more great content just like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button.